Hey everyone, welcome to today's video, and it's my first Crimson Vow dedicated video where today I'm going to look at what I think are going to be the top 10 best cards from Crimson Vow that are going to see standard play. Now, before we get off, there's a lot more than 10 I think will see standard play. I'm going to do a few honourable mentions to start with. These are just my personal choices, and what I would love is, for any cards that you think I missed, or just cards that you think will see great play, just chuck it in the comments. Let's have a little discussion, see what we think, what decks are going to go in, and everything like that. That'd be really fun for me to go through and read. So the first honourable mentions are going to be the new land cycles coming in. These different colours from what we have already. These are the lands that when they enter the battlefield tapped, unless you control 2 or more other lands. We've got some different colours here, and it's only going to make decks better. Obviously, more crafting for rare lands, but they're very essential to making decks consistent, and I'm great to see more of these in there. Next honourable mention is going to be Blood Vial Purveyor, 4 mana vampire, so good card for vampires, and very big stats on this, 5/6, so it's going to help deal with Goldspan Dragon, but does have some other abilities on there. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player creates a blood token, which is an artifact, pay 1, discard a card, sacrifice it, draw a card, so can potentially help your opponent find stuff, but whenever Purveyor attacks, it gets +1/+0 for each blood token defending players' controls. And when you've got something that has trample, this can get really out of hand, it can definitely win games, but you're giving your opponent something so they're getting out of it, something out of you playing Blood Vial Purveyor, but I do like in the colours of this to have a massive 5/6 and, for 4 mana, deal with the Goldspan potentially, if we can. Then we're going to look at a couple of Planeswalkers, Sorin the Mirthless and Chandra Dressed to Kill. I think they're both pretty decent. Sorin could be seen in any type of control deck potentially, not just, it doesn't just have to be vampires, but I like Planeswalkers that protect themselves. This gives you the 2/3 black vampire creature token with flying and lifelink. The -7 is quite interesting. And the +1, look at the top card, it wouldn't be black unless it, did damage to you. So if you've got some big spells in there, it could be pretty painful, but you'd have to basically work your deck around that. And Chandra, great 3 mana Planeswalker, could go into mono red burn potentially, anything with Goldspan Dragon, because it can help ramp a little bit. The +1 is add a red mana. Dressed to Kill then deals 1 damage to target player or Planeswalker. The exile top card of your library if it's red, so really in a dedicated red deck that, and for the -7 as well, but still I think it's good to get honourable mentions. So let's get on to my top 10 now, and we're starting off with a blue card, and it's Wash Away. 1 blue mana, it has Cleave, which is this new mechanic, so there's going to be wording in brackets that if you play it for the 1 mana, you then would do counter target spell that wasn't cast from its owner's hand. Then if it goes Cleave, you could just get to counter target spell. So you have to remove the words from the square brackets. So you've got to be, Arena will definitely help that out and make it a little bit easier for us all. Don't just leave that in hand and think you can counter a spell. But I think, to be in any type of blue control deck or tempo control deck, I think this is a very good spell. When you think of stuff that's cast from graveyards, not from hand, Epiphany when it's put over there, having that 1 mana counter target spell, I think is going to be pretty strong. And Wash Away, not only in sideboards, but I think in best of 1, when you're playing that sort of aggro, maybe it'd be in there maybe as a 2 of or possibly 3. It's still a 3 mana counter spell if it needs to be, but having the potential for that 1 mana makes it absolutely great for me, and I think it's definitely going to see a bit of play. The next one on my list, reprinted. It was always good. It was a rare. Now it's down to uncommon. It's Hero's Downfall. It's just always going to be good removal, destroying target creature or planeswalker for 3 mana at instant speed. With new Planeswalkers coming in, we got, like I said, Chandra, Sorin, Karen. This is just going to be good. Hero's Downfall. There's a lot of red and 7 decks out there, so having that 3 mana spell to do that is going to be good. But I think Hero's Downfall, for me, always good, and it's definitely going to see play in just various, anything that's playing mono black is going to be brilliant for Dimir control, any type of black control with that in there. I think it's going to be seeing play, and I'm so happy. It's one of my favourite spells when it was around I think it was last in Theros, I think it was. Let me know if I was wrong there, but I do love Hero's Downfall. Next up on my list is a green card. It is a Dig Up. Now, we've seen cards like Attune the Ether before that have been pretty decent, that have these 1 mana search your library for cards, for a basic land card, and it's been fairly decent. Now, this is a different type of up. You're playing the Cleave cost for 4. Now, 4 might seem expensive for a Diabolic Shooter, but it's the versatility of this card that I think will help us see play with this. If you just search your library for a basic land card for 1 mana, put in your hand, it's going to help you out. You could maybe run a couple of more, less lands and still run this in there. Late game or with a bit of ramp, dig up is going to be good. Searching for a card, any card that can help you out in the situation you need. Perhaps you're going to search for your powerhouse, your red and 7. This will be played, I think, in Golgari decks and anything that be running that sort of thing. Ramp decks, finding your big spell, go and find your chariot. I just think dig up is going to see play just because, if it was just 4 mana Diabolic Tutor, yeah, not great, didn't see much play. But the upside of you could potentially turn 1, go and get a land if you're a bit short, and then late game if you've got this, it's not a dead card. You can just go and search what for you need. So dig up, I'll be playing it. Will you be playing it? I think it's got it's a definitely good upside for this, and we'll see play. Next card we go to is Path of Apparel. 1 double black, another cleave card. Now, I like these for their versatility. So, destroy all creatures with mana value 2 or less for 3 mana. Now, this will, we don't have cards like we used to have the 3 mana board wise, or would give something -2/2 or something like that. Path of Peril with what's in the meta now, mono green, mono white, goblins. These are all very high aggro decks, and the control decks or mono black control, anything black and blue. It'd be nice to have this, even if it gets rid of tokens, gets rid of Ren and 7 tokens, gets rid of Ren and 7's big Reachy token as well. So Path of Peril, I think for 3 mana is going to do some work and can stop that early beatdown for you if you're a control player. Now, late on, for the same cost of Blood in the Snow, now you don't get that extra effect, but you're getting something else here with this card, playing it early and destroying some smaller creatures, but you can still have this late game for 6 mana for the cleave. It does have white in it as well, so for Orzhov it's going to be good. So I think this will be pretty sweet. Now, mono black might just splash the white just for this as well. Have a couple of lands so you can play this late on if you need. But I still think the destroy all creature with mana cost 2 or less is still going to be good for anything that's running those sort of control decks. Mono white can get out of hand if you can reset that board for a little bit and then just say, wait, now you've got to build up your army again, which they can do because they do run a lot of creatures, but this might save you the time you need, and I think it's definitely going to see some play. Now we go to another reprinted card. Love it. It's a Braid. Destroy target artifact. Oh, Esseka's for 2 mana. You're gone now. And the other ability of 3 damage to target creature. Now, there's a lot of creatures with 4 toughness that are really good, like the trolls and everything like that. In mono green that this will miss, but for 3, it will do some damage to creatures as well, and it will take care of a lot of problematic creatures. But the destroy target artifact for me, Celestis is played in quite a few different decks now as well, but for me the main one is dealing with Esseka's Chariot, which is an absolute beatdown and can really get out of hand. And this gives red or any type of red types of control, Grixis. Is it Epiphany decks are going to love this, the dragon decks as well. This gives them something against mono green, and I think this will certainly see play in a few number of decks depending on how the meta goes. I still think mono green is a really good deck and just gets some really powerful cards. Ramp decks as well, Chariot is everywhere, so definitely expect to see quite a few Braids in people's decks. Now we go big and green. Cultivator Colossus, 4 triple greens. This is going to be great for that Simic ramp. It has trample, it's a plant beast, its power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. Outside of standard, I think I'll be putting this in my Tachyova deck. But talking about standard, this ends the battlefield. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. If you do, draw a card and repeat this process. So getting this out early is going to be great. If you've got multiple lands in hand as well, you're going to be drawing cards as well as getting an absolutely huge plant beast trampler. I think this card is special. I love it. It's quite expensive, I think, already, but obviously the prices will drop. But hopefully, when the set gets released and it's a few more weeks in. But this is going to be winning games. It's going to be beaten down. Now, the old saying, it dies to removal. Yeah, a lot of creatures do. But the value you might get from this, if you've got lands in hand, drawing cards, is going to be good. It's going to ramp you out. You potentially will get this earlier. 7 mana in these, in ramp is not hard to do. You've got plenty of mana dogs, untapped, lands and everything like that, and ramping out a little bit. But Cultivator Colossus is going to be a nice big beater, and I'm very excited to play some sort of lands deck, and I think this will be seeing play without a doubt. So we're going blue again. Overcharged Amalgam, 2 double blue. Now this is going to be really good, not just for zombie decks, but for the exploit on this. There's plenty of good sackable creatures in there. You know how much Eye Twitch is played, and the other 1-drop as well that just gives you treasure, Shambling Geese. This is going to be a really good tempo card and give you something for that as well. When Overcharged Amalgam exploits a creature, counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. So it gives you that option of all 3 of them, and you get a 3/3 flyer as well. So this is value personified for me, and I think it's definitely going to see play. Me being a blue mage, I'm going to be putting this in there. If you're playing some sort of Poppet decks, you know, Poppet Stitch, you know how much I love them. I've put quite a few different brews on there. This slots straight in there as well. I think any sort of token deck where you're making the decayed tokens as well, this, when they're sackable at the end, flashing this in, potentially saving one of your creatures, or stop, you know, late different types of game, you can stop a Planeswalker Ultimate as well. So this does a hell of a lot, and for 4 mana, you're getting a flash flying creature that can obviously exploit itself if it needs to be. So, you know, when this creature enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature, so it can sack itself as well. Very good creature, and I'm excited to play with this one. And I think it's definitely going to see play with the amount of token decks and Stitcher decks and everything out there. Down to the last 3 now, and we've got what the Wolf decks needed. They needed this Werewolves, they needed a 1-drop, and they've got Ascendant Pack Leader here. That was value early game or late game. It's a 2/1, ends the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it if you control a permanent with mana 4 or greater. So a 1-drop that will be coming down as a 3/2 potentially. Mono green might like this, but I think this is just perfect for the Werewolf deck. Whenever you cast a spell, so this can happen late in the game as well. With mana 4 or greater, put a 1/1 counter on it, so it can grow as well. It's a great 1-drop, and it's a 1-drop that can just get really big. It's always going to have to be dealt with, and can potentially late game still come in as a 3/2, which is none too shabby to be fair. And after it comes into that, it can just keep growing, because you might be playing these big spells like the big Trampler we suppose earlier. Perhaps you're going to go big mono green, you know, not just all the aggro, but I still think this will fit into a varied amount of deck, and it's going to be a straight 4 of 3, 4 of, definitely in the Werewolf decks. So all you Werewolf players, you have to craft this first if that's your deck that you want to choose to play, because it's getting stronger. And I think this, it's going to be probably one of the most played cards to start off with in the format, because I think Werewolves again are going to be everywhere. Number 2 is Athalia, Guardian of Thraben. I've used to play this in older formats. First right, non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. It's a 2/1 mono white. The aggro, this is potentially what they need, because they don't play many non-creature spells, and the card I spoke about earlier, the 3-mana Wrath, will then all of a sudden cost 4. So while I still think that is a great card, I still think mono white are going to be playing this if it's going to be played. It's a very, very good card and stops a lot of stuff. It makes Epiphanies 1 more. It makes all non-creature spells cost more, which the 2-mana removal, this comes down, all of a sudden it's costing 3. They have to wait a turn and potentially do it in an opponent's turn. It's just a great card, and it's always been good. If it's played in older formats and now it's in standards, you know how good it is. The first strike is important, as Dan is down as a tier 2. You can freely attack with it, and potentially you're going to be getting in some damage as well, or killing a creature if they decide to block it. But Thalia, definitely going to be seeing played. Who knows what this card's going to be played in? It's going to be played in a lot of decks. I just think Thalia is a super strong card, and I'm excited to see how it plays, and a bit worried how it might make mono white even better. Last card on my list, and yes, I'm a blue mage, but it is a red card. It's Maniform Kite. This card is insane. It's 4 mana, 4/4 flying dragon. So if mono red dragons is going to be a thing, this is going to be in there. Is it dragons? Definitely going to go in there. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX red dragon illusion creature token with flying and haste, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast this. Imagine this in Epiphany, where then you're putting down an extra turn, then making a 6/6 and attacking. Oh, it's just going to be absolutely amazing. Potentially 7/7. So this is just a card that I think will be great in control decks, Grixis control, anything like that runs a lot of counter spells. This is going to be really good. You do have to exile the token at the beginning of the next end step, but you're getting in with that damage, and this is going to be a very quick clock. I will definitely try mono red dragons just to see how good it'll be, but I think Is It Dragons will be, probably the way to go with this. But yeah, this dragon, Maniform Hellkite, crazy. For 4 mana, it's going to do one hell of a lot, and it's definitely going to wreck some of our decks when it's flying over, and then making some more dragon illusions along its way, and potentially, that big one-shot kill. But I think Maniform Hellkite, supreme card from the set, and is, it's my #1 best card from the set to see a standard play. So this was my top 10 and some honourable mentions. Any cards you think you would like to see, think should be in there. There's a lot of great cards in this set, so it's not necessarily just missed. These are just the ones that I ended up with. But I would love to see yours in the comments. Let me know which cards you think are going to impact standard quite a lot in constructed play. Maybe even put some cards that you're excited to, want me to brew around, or cards that you think I should fit into other decks. Just let me know, because I'm always interested in to see what you do and what you think of all this new set. It's very exciting. Hopefully, I will pull the cards I want. I will be cracking packs. Are you going to get the MTG bundles? I normally get not the draft one, I normally get the other one. So potentially I will get one of them and crack some packs, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be lucky, because we know what the economy is like. And there's so many new cards that I want to build and play around and make loads of new decks for you. So you got excited, get excited, because they will be coming your way when the new set drops. Thank you to everyone that's been supporting all the videos. If you enjoy my work, go and check out my Patreon here. Here's some lovely people that support me on there as well. You could get your name up in lights on a video every single time I upload. Might be something you like, might be something you don't like, but there's lots of other rewards as well. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. You lot take care, and I'll see you on the next one.